While other luxury brands are enjoying record sales, Jaguar just fired its CEO in a shocking move that has the entire automotive world buzzing. This isn't just another corporate shakeup, it's a desperate attempt to save a British icon from complete collapse. If you own a Jaguar or have been considering one, what happens next could either double your car's value or leave you with a worthless piece of automotive history. The writing has been on the wall for months. Record sales declines in Europe, a controversial ad campaign that became an internet laughingstock, and a concept car reveal that fell completely flat. But there's something bigger happening behind the scenes that nobody's talking about. Something that could change everything for Jaguar and shake up the entire luxury car market. In the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal exactly what went wrong at Jaguar, why the CEO was suddenly shown the door, and the radical plan that might either save the company or seal its fate. Because while everyone else is speculating about Jaguar's future, I've connected the dots on what's really happening, and it's far more significant than just another executive shakeup. The news broke just moments ago. After a series of catastrophic missteps that pushed Jaguar to the brink, the company's leadership has made a dramatic change at the top. This comes after what industry insiders are calling the most disastrous rebranding attempt in automotive history, an advertising campaign so bizarre that it became a viral sensation for all the wrong reasons. You've probably seen the ads. They were so confusing and off-putting that even people with zero interest in cars were talking about them. My inbox has been flooded with viewers asking what Jaguar was thinking. The answer is simple: they weren't. The campaign completely backfired, turning a respected luxury brand into an internet meme overnight. But the advertising disaster was just the tip of the iceberg. What really sealed the CEO's fate was the company's stubborn commitment to an all-electric future despite overwhelming evidence that the market isn't ready. While companies like Ferrari can't sell their electric supercars and Dodge is practically giving away their electric Chargers with ridiculous lease deals, Jaguar doubled down on a strategy that consumers have clearly rejected. The numbers tell the brutal story. Jaguar's sales in Europe, historically their strongest market, have collapsed to record lows. In the United States, dealerships are sitting on unsold inventory with no relief in sight. And perhaps most damaging of all, the resale values of existing Jaguar models have plummeted by 10 to 20% in just the past few months. For current Jaguar owners, this is a financial disaster. Imagine watching the value of your $60,000 F-Pace or $90,000 I-Pace drop by thousands overnight, not because of anything wrong with the car itself, but because the company's leadership made a series of catastrophic decisions. This brings us to the big question that's now hanging over the automotive world. What happens next for Jaguar? The answer might surprise you because it represents a complete reversal of the strategy that's been driving the company for the past 3 years. Industry insiders with direct knowledge of the situation tell me that Jaguar's parent company, Tata Motors, has been in secret talks with several traditional powertrain suppliers, a clear indication that they're reconsidering their all-electric commitment. This would be an earthquake in the automotive world, as Jaguar was one of the first legacy brands to announce a complete transition to electric vehicles. The reality is that the EV revolution has hit a major roadblock. Tesla's sales have stalled. Traditional manufacturers are scaling back their electric plans. Even governments are walking back their aggressive mandates. The market has spoken, and it's saying that consumers aren't ready to go all electric, especially in the luxury segment where the driving experience is everything. For Jaguar, this represents both a crisis and an opportunity. Their heritage is built on elegant, powerful sports cars and sedans with distinctive character. The legendary E-Type, the stunning XJ220, the sophisticated XJ. These are the cars that made Jaguar an icon, and they all had one thing in common: engines with personality and soul. Sources close to Tata Motors tell me that the company is seriously considering a dramatic return to form, a new lineup centered around a flagship sports car with a traditional internal combustion engine, specifically a supercharged V8 that would deliver the kind of visceral experience that made people fall in love with Jaguar in the first place. This isn't just speculation. Prototype testing has allegedly already begun at Jaguar's engineering center in Coventry, England. The project, codenamed Revival, represents a complete philosophical shift for the company, an acknowledgement that they misread the market and need to reconnect with their core customers. But will it be enough? That's where things get complicated, because Jaguar isn't just fighting against market trends, they're fighting against time. The luxury car market has changed dramatically in the past decade, with traditional players like BMW and Mercedes facing new competition from upstarts like Lucid and Rivian, plus established brands like Porsche that have successfully managed the transition to electrification without alienating their customer base. Jaguar now finds itself in the worst possible position, neither fully committed to the future nor properly honoring its past. The new concept car they revealed was supposed to bridge this gap, but instead it fell into the uncanny valley of automotive design. Too futuristic for traditionalists, too conservative for early adopters. This brings us to the most critical aspect of this story and the reason the CEO was ultimately shown the door. In 2022, Jaguar's parent company Tata Motors approved a $5 billion investment plan to revitalize the brand. That money was earmarked primarily for electric vehicle development, new manufacturing facilities, and the controversial rebranding campaign. 3 years later, there's almost nothing to show for that massive investment. No new production vehicles, no sales growth, no improvement in brand perception, just a concept car that nobody's excited about, and an advertising campaign that became a punchline. For Tata Motors, which has its own financial pressures to deal with, this performance was simply unacceptable. The decision to remove the CEO wasn't just about poor results, it was about the complete failure of a strategy that was supposed to secure Jaguar's future for decades to come. So what does this mean for the future of Jaguar? That's where things get really interesting, because there are several scenarios that could play out over the next 12 to 18 months. The first possibility is a complete reversal of strategy, abandoning the all-electric plans and returning to Jaguar's roots as a maker of powerful, elegant sports cars and sedans. This would be the most dramatic option, but also the most risky. It would require writing off billions in electric vehicle development and essentially starting over. The second possibility is a hybrid approach, continuing with electrification but introducing a halo car with a traditional powertrain to rebuild the brand's credibility with enthusiasts. This would be less financially disruptive but might send mixed messages about Jaguar's identity. The third and perhaps most likely scenario is a partnership or acquisition. Luxury brands are valuable assets even when they're struggling, and there are several larger automotive groups that might see value in adding Jaguar to their portfolio. Volkswagen Group, which already owns Bentley, Lamborghini, and Porsche, could be a potential suitor. So could Chinese automakers like Geely, which has successfully revitalized Volvo. Whatever path Jaguar chooses, one thing is clear: the status quo was unsustainable. The company needed a dramatic change, and removing the CEO is just the first step in what will likely be a comprehensive restructuring. For current Jaguar owners, this creates a complex situation. In the short term, the uncertainty will likely continue to depress resale values, but if the company successfully executes a turnaround, those same cars could become more valuable as representations of a transitional period in Jaguar's history. For potential buyers, the situation presents both risks and opportunities. On one hand, there are some incredible deals to be had on new and slightly used Jaguars right now. Dealers are desperate to move inventory, and discounts of 15 to 20% below MSRP are common. On the other hand, buying a car from a manufacturer in crisis comes with obvious risks related to service, parts availability, and future resale value. The most interesting aspect of this whole situation is how it reflects the broader challenges facing the automotive industry. Jaguar isn't the only manufacturer struggling with the transition to electrification. Nearly every legacy brand is facing similar pressures, caught between government mandates pushing them toward electric vehicles and consumer preferences that remain stubbornly attached to traditional powertrains. What makes Jaguar's situation unique is the spectacular nature of their failure. Their rebranding campaign didn't just miss the mark, it actively damaged the brand's reputation. Their concept car didn't just fail to excite, it confused and alienated their core customers. And their sales didn't just decline, they collapsed to levels that threatened the brand's very existence. The lessons here are clear. First, authenticity matters, especially for luxury brands with rich heritage. Jaguar's attempt to reinvent itself as something completely different from its historical identity was always going to be risky. Second, listening to customers is essential. The market was sending clear signals about electric vehicle adoption rates, but Jaguar chose to ignore them. And third, execution is everything. Even a flawed strategy can succeed if it's implemented well, but Jaguar managed to fail on both the strategic and tactical levels. So what happens next? The immediate future will be determined by who Tata Motors chooses as the new CEO. If they bring in someone with a background in traditional luxury vehicles, that would signal a return to Jaguar's roots. If they choose someone from the tech or electric vehicle world, that would suggest doubling down on the current strategy despite its obvious failures. My sources indicate that the search is already well underway, with several candidates from competing luxury brands being approached. The decision is expected within the next 30 days, and it will set the direction for Jaguar for years to come. For automotive enthusiasts, this is a fascinating case study in how quickly a prestigious brand can lose its way. Jaguar has survived numerous crises throughout its 90-year history, from financial difficulties to ownership changes to quality problems. But this current situation may be its most existential challenge yet. The irony is that this crisis comes at a time when luxury vehicle sales are booming globally. Brands like Bentley, Rolls-Royce, and Porsche are setting sales records year after year. The market for premium automobiles has never been larger or more lucrative. Jaguar's failure to capitalize on this trend is entirely self-inflicted. So where does that leave us? Jaguar stands at a crossroads. One path leads to reinvention and potential irrelevance. The other leads back to its roots and the qualities that made it special in the first place. The firing of the CEO is an acknowledgement that the first path wasn't working. Now we wait to see if they have the courage and vision to embrace the second. For a brand that once represented the perfect blend of performance, luxury, and distinctively British character, the stakes couldn't be higher. Jaguar isn't just fighting for market share or profits, it's fighting for its very soul. And that's a battle worth watching. Whether you're